welcome to the Web3 Business Podcast. My name is Rob and I'm here as always with my colleagues Kay and Ed.
Hey
Hello
there.
guys,
Hey everyone.
thanks for being here. And today we have our guest Pablo, who is a founder from Angle Protocol, which is a DeFi protocol focused on stablecoins like the Euro and USD. Welcome, Pablo.
Hey Robbie, thanks. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great, yeah. We want to ask you a couple of questions, as always, about your personal journey in this space. So let me kick this off first by asking, how have you actually entered this space? What made you excited about the space, and what inspired you to start your protocol?
Yeah, I got pretty lucky in the sense that not lucky, but I didn't enter the space randomly, as if it was like a side hobby I had, and I suddenly got passionate about DeFi and reinventing finance. I studied in France, and I got the opportunity to take a crypto class, like an economics class, in my engineering school about blockchains, cryptocurrencies. And then I went to do a master's in the US, and I also took a class about cryptocurrencies and developing in DeFi and so on. So, like, the way I got into it is through the classical academic way, I'd say. Nothing like too fancy on this. And these were the classes that I preferred the most over all my studies. Also at the intersection of everything I had done before, in the sense of doing economy, math, computer science. So like cryptocurrencies were the perfect blend between everything I liked, and this is what led me to join the space full time.
Great, yeah, very interesting. We don't hear that too often, this route, so that's quite interesting. Kay, do you have any question for Pablo?
Yes. Thank you, Rob. So for this question is mostly for our listeners, Pablo. So for our listeners who are interested in DeFi protocol or DeFi marketing, so what are the top 3 takeaways from Angle's marketing strategy that they can apply to their own projects?
It's a really good question, because there is no obvious answer. Like in terms of marketing strategy, I think the number one advice would be try to build your own brand. Like, not necessarily about your project, and I don't excel at this. But it's important to build your own brand. When you're doing DeFi, you're developing financial products and systems in which people will potentially have to put their money. So it's really about building trust and building a recognizable brand and personal brand, like not under a name of like an entity. People will be able to identify to you, and this will make them more prone to eventually interact with your systems. Avoid at all costs being an anon. Many people recommend this in the space, but for me, there are some anons which everyone respects, and this is more the exception. But as a newcomer, don't hide under a pseudonym. Like, show your face, you don't have to show your real name, but at least show your face, so that people can trust you and know that you are accountable for the systems that you are doing, and that you won't be rug pulling anything. That's the first thing. The two first thing, not like build your own personal brand and don't be an anon. The third thing I'd say in terms of marketing strategy would be, but this is more like my French vibe, I guess. Try to don't fall into what everyone else is doing, into the scammy type of things, and playing with the same vibe. Like, know the value that you're bringing and insist on this value. It's not because you, like, if you do an AMM and everyone does the AMM, like, you're not differentiated, and there is no value in doing the project from scratch. Know what you're bringing, know your differentiators, and really insist on this. Tokenomics is not a differentiator. What's a differentiator is how you improve, like, the economic, the financial transactions between stakeholders in the ecosystem you are building, and how it changes with respect to other comparisons. And like, it's not because we evolve in DeFi, in crypto, that the notion of product market fit should go away. build a product that has value, and in marketing insist on the value of the product you're building, and it will be far easier to distribute and sell your product and grow your audience.
All right. Okay. Thanks for those strategies, Pablo. So following up those questions, I just wanted to know if there is any emerging marketing trends do you see as most relevant to the DeFi industry, and how is the Angle planning to leverage on those trends, if there are any?
In terms of marketing trends, it's really hard to say. It seems that everyone right now is doing rounds with influencers. Because you may have the best product, you may try to build a brand, you may not be an anon, you still need to reach a wide audience, and there are some like names which people trust, and rather than asking people to trust you, you can like convince an influencer or somehow like someone who everyone trusts, and it will be easier to make a case for the product that you are developing. And we've seen a lot of people raise rounds with influencers across the board. So this seems to be a trend. We don't do this so much at Angle because the border is between like real like qualitative influencers and the ones which publish content which looks fake, looks like, hey, I've been paid for this, is really narrow, and we still haven't found the right formula to work with these people with like a greater audience than what we have all on our own. But it's not like influencers are not bad on ours, like it, and it's good for the industry, and it exists in any industry, so there is nothing abnormal here. What we need to find on our side, but I guess on many projects, is what level of influencers do we want, and how do we want them to communicate about what we're doing, so that it looks genuine, so that it looks more enticing for users. And sometimes, like I see threads on Twitter, I'm like, hey, like these guys paid, this doesn't convince me in a single minute, and they could have spent their money otherwise. So it can be kind of hard to navigate through all this.
All right. Yes, I get those points. So thank you, Pablo. So that is for the marketing side questions.
Okay, let's go to the tech side, Ed.
Yeah. So Angle protocol also has their stablecoins, right? So what's the edge of stablecoins of Angle protocol? USDT, for instance.
I mean, USDT is completely different. In the sense that it operates as a centralized stablecoin. Angle is a decentralized stablecoin protocol, which is based all on smart contracts. From a user perspective, the real edge and like technologically behind it, it's very different. But from a user perspective, the difference is that Angle stablecoins offer a yield when you don't get one when you deal with USDT. When you hold a USDA, which is our USD stablecoin, or Euro stablecoin, you can deposit them into savings products. And while Tether, they have like, I don't know, 100 billion in reserves, earning a 4 to 5% yield, printing like 5 billion a year. At Angle, like we do generate a yield on our backing, but this yield goes to our users. And when you use USDT, you are the product. You could be entitled to earn this yield, which Tether easily owns from your money, but you're not getting anything. I mean, you get the utility of having a USDT, but you are paying a huge opportunity cost to Tether. When you hold Angle stablecoins, you are earning the yield that the protocol is generating on its reserves. So not only do you get access to stable currency that can like easily be transferred and that moves, that's programmable and that moves as easily as all other stablecoins, but on top you get an extra revenue, which can make a huge difference at scale.
Okay. Thank you for that. Also, I noticed that you use the ARC721 for your vault managers. Why is that?
It's a pretty deep question. But so like putting some context here, at Angle, people can take loans, like put collateral as wrap stake TIS and borrow our stablecoins typically, but just an example. And when people have a loan position, this position is represented as an NFT, an ERC 721. The reason why we do this is that standards bring a lot of value to the space. It brings a lot of composability, and building around standards. On our side, it doesn't need it. It wouldn't we didn't need to do an ERC 721. But when you have non-fungible positions, it makes sense to put them under the NFT standard, so the ERC 721 standard, so that everyone building around NFTs in the industry recognizes your position, and so that position holders on our side benefit from all the native integrations that people have when dealing with NFTs. So it's to bring more composability in the space that we are, when we have the choice, putting our systems under a standard that's more widely known and used everywhere.
Thank you.
Yeah, and one other tech point from my side as well. So Pablo, you built this on Ethereum, is that correct?
So we are chain agnostic on our side. Our main systems are on Ethereum, but our stablecoins are live on many different chains, more than 12 at the moment. Reason being that launching a stablecoin is like launching a standard, and no one will have incentive to use it unless other people use it. So it's our responsibility as developers of a stablecoin protocol to make our stablecoins available in as many places as possible, liquid. And so sometimes protocols are like, hey, we are going cross-chain, guys, this should be a commodity. Going cross-chain and making sure the stablecoin can be transferred for free from one chain to another, it's like stablecoin 101. Everyone should do this, and optimize for this cross-chain stuff.
Yeah, that's a great way to look. In your case, it makes a lot of sense, because Ethereum, indeed, the gas fees are too high for daily transactions still, but that in the end is up to the user, of course, to use any other chain that you guys are offering in that sense, just like USDC and USDT, etc. One other question. So you mentioned the yield kind of features, and I think other stablecoins are definitely working on it. There's other new stablecoins that are integrating this, and it's a super it's a great value proposition for the users. And also, I think, we were just talking about this before you joined here, is that the inflation is actually, it's huge. The international inflation for the next few years can be 15%. So every dollar you keep in your account will by definition be worth a lot less. We also see it all around us already happening. So you mentioned, you have a system for actually, generating yield. So what kind of yield percentage can you expect? Can you go up to this 15%? And secondly, is it possible to somehow also automate that? Because I can also imagine, I know a lot of other players and also non-DeFi players, so traditional players, they have also yield kind of accounts right now, but there's always friction involved. You always have to kind of make a conscious decision. Okay, I'm going to put this here, and I do some check marks of acknowledging the risk and etc. So for me personally as a user, it would be very valuable to use a stablecoin that is automatically yield bearing. So I don't have to worry that my $1 today is only worth 85 cents next year in real value, but it's actually compensated automatically for that. Is that something that you guys could potentially do as well? So
it's impossible to beat inflation, to have a guarantee to beat inflation without taking too many risks. And the job of a stablecoin is one, stability, then liquidity, and then yield, in this order. So you can try to beat inflation, but probably sometimes at the expense of stability, or at the expense of liquidity of the stablecoin. By liquidity, I mean you should be able to sell it when you hold a stablecoin for USD or whatever as rapidly as possible with the tiniest slippage you can expect. And it's all about macroeconomics. Like the risk-free stablecoins should all be able to earn the risk-free rate on their reserves, or slightly less than this if they keep a liquidity buffer and do not invest everything in securities. But normally you should be able to earn the risk-free rate, and it's like a central bank policy. The risk-free rate is set so that inflation reduces, but there is no direct correlation. I mean, between the risk-free rate and the value of inflation. If, of course, like if the risk-free rate increases, like inflation should decrease because people will stop like buying and spending, and they will like keep like their money at the bank. But like it's possible that the risk-free rate is above inflation. Currently, inflation is still far above the risk-free rate. So this delta, to compensate it, you need to take some risks, and it's hard. And it like. And I personally wouldn't use an inflation-resistant stablecoin because it implies that they are doing some odd things with their reserves. Then, when it comes to automation and yield, like the goal of the savings product that we are developing at Angle is like these are said to be passive products. You just get in and you can put your mind in mode like set and forget. I can forget that I have this money. I know that I'm going to be earning a yield that's on par with the risk-free rate in TradFi, or like more globally, I'm going to be earning a yield that is the best of TradFi yields and DeFi yields. This is the value prop that we have. We try to offer something like if DeFi lending yields higher, well, you should be able to earn the yield from DeFi lending. But if DeFi lending yields lower than what you get with securities, then we provide with what you earn with securities. So that's a bit how everything is structured on our side. And yes, like automation, it's at the level of the protocol so that users like you don't have to think about the complexities of arbing the yield and making the most of their money. We build a product that's like consistent enough to yield like high returns, but we care for risk as a number one priority. And we cannot guarantee that we will beat inflation. And people say that they are beating inflation, like just run away and try to beat inflation on your own by buying ETH or BTC or whatever.
Okay, interesting thing. So first of all, what I understand from what you're saying, that you are really just focused on making sure that the user gets the best real like kind of risk. Can I call it risk-free yield, or is it
like you can say risk-free sounds like the T-bills rate, it's called the risk-free rate. On our side we call this the very low risk TradFi rate, but because risk-free makes people think, hey, I can put my money there at no risk. No, there are risks in every single system you interact with. There are some situations in which it can go wrong. You need to be aware of this. But it's still lower risk than other things you can do. So we say low risk product.
Right. Okay. But then at the same time, out of let's say the low risk products, you guys offer potentially better yields than maybe others would, especially in the traditional TradFi space.
That's because we are structured in that's the beauty of the architecture we're developing. It's about taking value from one place and having better funnels to direct it to users and creating value elsewhere, which creates like boosting effects for our users. So there are a lot of components that explain why we've been ranked as the lowest risk USD yield. So it's the highest risk adjusted yield on USD stablecoins with our like USD savings solution. But that's partly thanks to the machinery we have built on the stablecoin level, and not because we are taking like huge risks with our reserves.
Okay, interesting. I do have a couple of more questions, but let's go to Kay first again.
All right. Okay. So thank you for that answer. I'm learning, Pablo. So I think we have a lot of things to talk about marketing on just for my side. But yeah, I don't have any further questions. So I just in my mind right now, it's like you're not riding any bandwagon. You've mentioned that you're not doing influencers that much. I don't have any further question. I'm just wondering about PRs. So how do you do your PRs on that? Just a follow-up questions.
How we do PR, we try to contact journalists directly whenever we have an announcement to make. There are some good agencies as well, which you can contact to get in touch with journalists. But mostly doing PR, it's about convincing people that like your story is worth it. Every time you speak, like you do BD, you do marketing, or you try to get people to talk about you, you need to put yourself in their own shoes, like, and think how these guys are thinking. What's the number one metric? A journalist will look into the quality of its articles and how many people have read through its articles. So you must convince people that the story you're telling will enable them to get more readers and more viewers, and it's about like aligning your sales like speech to ensure that this aligns with what like the optimization of their success metrics.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. No further questions for me, Robbie.
Okay, great. Ed, what about you?
Yeah. So in order for you to earn yields, you just need to hold stable coins, right?
Yes.
Or you need to stake it.
You need like rebasing stablecoins are really a pain. Like so, just holding stablecoins, we did it in a way where you need to stake your stablecoins, but staking your stablecoin has the same risk as just holding the stablecoin, because stablecoins staked are like not used anywhere else in our case. So yeah, we on our side like try to get people to stake so that our saving solution is yield bearing, and because the yield bearing standard, the ones in which an ERC20 accrues in value, and rather than having people's balances increasing, it's far more practical.
So you just need to hold tokens, right?
I mean, people have to stake their tokens, but not everyone stakes their tokens, because some people are using the stablecoins for other activities, like lending, like trading or whatever, and not holding the yield-bearing version.
Yeah. No more further questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I do have a question about that. So you mentioned, technically speaking, you could just increase the user's balance without staking, but it will be more. Well, what is the downside from you know, from the protocol's level? Because you're mentioning even if you stake it, it's not being used.
Yeah.
So why can't you just send it?
It's composability. Like typically, if you do a UniV3 pool with a rebasing token, it's not going to work. So it's to facilitate integrations. Otherwise, like you break a lot of different things. Rebasing tokens are really a nightmare for DeFi protocols. And for us, it doesn't change anything, but for people who will use our stablecoins, it will change something. So we just put it this way to make their lives easier. Sorry.
No, okay. You're comparing it. Do I understand correctly that you compare it to actually doing a swap for the yield-bearing token versus staking, right? But I think what I'm saying is that in this case, how you guys are using it is to stake the actual USDA in this case.
No, like on our side, as a protocol, we earn a revenue on our reserves. Not like behind every USDA, we earn a revenue. People do whatever they want with their USDA, but they can like deposit it into our savings product. And what we do is that 90% of the revenue we generate is distributed to people into our savings solution. So the USDA deposited into our savings solution is just like a means for us to account for, okay, how many USDA should we pay with the yield that we are earning, and how much should we pay them so that these receive 90% of the revenue that we are generating. It's just like technical accounting stuff that we do to distribute the yield, but it doesn't like we could have rebasing, we could have yield bearing. It wouldn't change anything into how we are generating the yield. It's just for the distribution side of things.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm also talking about the distribution side. So just for my understanding, right? I'm not a technical guy, but for me, it's what is the difference between sending it to a, let's say, savings account, which is the staking part, right, versus just sending it directly to someone's based on the amount of balance they have. Like, why does the user
Because
basically
it
have
makes
to
the token rebasing. Like, let's say at the end of the year, rebasing means your token balance is increasing, and it breaks everything. Like, let's say you have a UniV3 pool with 100 USDA and 100 USDC. Let's say the yield is 5%. At the end of the year, if nothing happens, the UniV3 pool will have 105 USDA and 100 USDC. But the UniV3 pool doesn't know that it earned 5 USDA, so it doesn't
okay,
change
because
its price.
I got it. But then you're talking about like USDA that is in some kind of a pool, right? But what about USDA that is just in your own wallet? Like,
Yeah,
this
wouldn't change anything. But as a protocol, we don't know if wallets are pools or like the scope of integrations around the stablecoin is really infinite.
Right. Okay, there's no way to track that. Okay, so you have to, as a user, put it in this. So how do you do it? You have to go to your dApp and then make a transaction there.
Yeah, or there are many other front ends which support this, like depositing into our yield solutions. So yeah, like it's pretty straightforward, either on our dApp or on 1inch or Odos. For people, it's like staking. It's like a swap, even though you don't interact with an AMM or anything of the sort. It's like converting ETH into wrapped ETH in some way, or DAI into SDAI. But it's really super straightforward.
Okay. And then you mentioned before that branding is very important for you guys in your marketing, right? So is there anything? So, for example, your name, Angle, right? Is that something you consciously chose for your branding?
We didn't. Yeah. But then like a name doesn't change much. It's important to have a good name, but I don't feel that Angle is a bad name. We could have consciously chosen a better name, a better branding, but we have a good name, and then it's about the story. You say, like, people I don't know, like, is Coca-Cola a good name? I don't know, like, just people have integrated it, and it's about the strength of the brand you're building around your name. But there are no bad names, I believe. Only good stories, like only good or bad stories around the name and what the image you're trying to convey.
Right. Okay, we're almost out of time here. Final question from our side, which we ask all our founders, entrepreneurs, Web3 projects. What has been a huge challenge that you've seen building out your protocol, and how can you kind of give fellow entrepreneurs and Web3 projects kind of some advice on that, or some takeaways on that?
For us, the biggest challenge was, biggest challenges were first the culture in DeFi, the fact that it's like kind of this casino culture, and sometimes you'll see projects overvalued for reasons you don't really know, and it's not always the best project that's winning. It's the one that has the best marketing, and because everything is so financial, and people will be mercenary and going to where they expect they can make the most money. And you're like, hey, like, my product down the line is net positive for everyone, and you guys prefer to use this shitty, like, risk-taking stuff, or there are a lot of great risk-taking stuff, just throwing an example here. But the fact that people are mercenary, versatile, and that the industry is not really patient, it's a complexity. And the other real challenge is distribution, and like, it's really key in DeFi. You may build the best protocol, if you don't have a good distribution, nothing will happen, and you won't go anywhere. So for entrepreneurs in the space, focus on building products like on the long term. Don't focus on the last wave and what everyone is like, the last hype everyone everyone is excited about. Just follow your gut, and build something that will be useful 10 years down the line, but be able to surf the wave of where the industry is going, because otherwise, like, you need to live with your time and exist. So it's about finding the right balance between building what you believe the industry needs and surfing the wave of the hype and so on, because it can be like a booster for your growth. And in terms of distribution, prioritize distribution over fancy technical stuff.
Got it. Well, thank you so much, Pablo. Appreciate it. Maybe we talk soon again. And for now, thank you, and thanks everybody for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.